even make any more memories. The 7 years was all I had. And it's all because of Kirkland Warren. And I want him to suffer every single day.
But now Warren will spend the rest of his life behind bars.
You're a child molester! You are a child molester!
I came across a case on TikTok that made me want to take a deeper look into it. And y'all, let me tell you something. This case isn't only disturbing, it's disgusting. Because why would one go so far with being so sinister and evil? Welcome to my channel, everyone. Courtney Elise here, aka Court Crimes TV. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and comment. Also, hit that notification bell. That way you'll know every time I upload. Let's get into the video. On March 2nd, 2023, Kirkland Warren and his girlfriend Meshay Melendez would get into a heated argument. Kirkland would leave only to return with a gun and proceed to shoot up Meshay's apartment with her and her 7-year-old daughter, Layla Stewart, inside. He would be arrested that same day. 20 days later, the bodies of Meshay and her daughter would be found. Now, let's start from the beginning of their relationship and see how it got to this point. Meshay Melendez was a 27-year-old woman living in Vancouver, Washington, with her 7-year-old daughter, Layla Stewart. Meshay was described as an outgoing person. People who loved her said she was a very confident woman with a bright spirit. Her relationship with Kirkland Warren was a very tumultuous one. They were on and off a lot due to his extreme anger and abuse. Kirkland Warren's criminal history is crazy. He has been to jail for everything from domestic violence to murder. Yes, I said murder. In 2017, he was indicted for the murder of Curtis Urquhart. Sorry if I mispronounced that name. He admitted to arguing with Curtis about money. He then took his gun while driving, pointed it at his head, and killed him. Kirkland would then drive around until he dumped the body into a ditch. He was charged with first-degree murder and abuse of a corpse. He would then be released on bond with no type of restriction. No curfew, no ankle monitor, nothing. They just let him go. The Arkansas police felt he wasn't a threat nor a danger to anyone, hence why they would just let him go on bond. Now, this man just shot another man cold blood while driving and got rid of the body, and y'all don't think he was a threat? Make it make sense.
Police say the mother's ex-boyfriend, 28-year-old Kirkland Warren, is considered a person of interest in their disappearance. We also learned he is wanted in Arkansas in connection to the murder of Curtis Urquhart back in 2017. In that case, court documents show Warren admitted to arguing with the victim about money before he allegedly pointed the gun at the man and shot him in the head while driving. With investigators writing, he then told them he drove around and found a gravel road and dumped the body in a ditch.
Well, once he was out on bond, he fled to Vancouver, Washington. Once in Vancouver, this is where he'd meet Meshay. Their relationship was not great at all. In fact, it was very, very rocky. Despite the videos she would post on TikTok with the two of them, people knew Kirkland was not a good guy at all. Kirkland was very abusive towards her, and on March 2nd, he would shoot up her apartment, not caring that she and her daughter were inside. He would be arrested, but while locked up, he continued to harass Meshay, violating the order of protection. He told her that it was her fault she was locked up and to drop the charges. Now, he would be released on March 8th, despite constantly violating the order of protections against him. From March 2nd to March 8th, this man was released time and time again.
Here is the timeline of events leading up to that discovery. Court documents show Warren was arrested on March 2nd for shooting at Melendez's home in December. On March 3rd, he was released on bail in order to have no contact with Melendez. On March 6th, he was arrested again for violating a protection order by calling Melendez from jail.
Warren has been in custody since last Sunday, facing multiple charges including violation of domestic violence orders in connection to his relationship with Melendez.
I don't understand why they allowed him out. I also want to add that this man scored a 31 on a danger assessment scale that only went up to 18. So this is another reason why they dropped the ball on this entire thing.
Wolstein says Warren scored a 31 on a danger assessment scale used to determine the risk of lethality to domestic violence victims. Anything 18 or higher is considered an extreme risk. But under Washington law, judges can only deny bail for capital offenses. Wolstein thinks it will take the whole community, police, prosecutors, legislators, and the public, working together to fight for a new law that would keep high risk of lethality offenders behind bars.
This is a big ask, and it's not something that it's going to require bipartisan support. It's going to require, I believe, the public to get behind this, because it does require a vote. It does require the citizens to say, we want this to be different in domestic violence cases where we have a high risk of lethality and we have repeated offenses, and we can show that the offender does pose a significant danger to the victim.
So while he's out on bond because somehow he got through to Meshay and Meshay ended up dropping the charges, the system thought it was fishy, but they went along with it and let him out. He ends up getting back into good graces with Meshay, and on March 12th, a witness said that she saw Meshay that morning passed out in Kirkland's car on the passenger side. She said she then saw Kirkland carry Layla to the car. She thought he was bringing her to school. That was the last time she had ever saw them.
There is a history of Warren targeting Melendez, including a drive-by shooting that happened earlier this month, according to court documents. We're going to give you a quick recap of some recent events here. On March 2nd, Vancouver police arrested Warren for drive-by shooting, assault, and making threats to kill. He posted bail and was released and was ordered not to contact Meshay Melendez, who was the primary victim of that shooting. The morning of March 12th, according to police, is the last time anyone saw Melendez or her 7-year-old daughter, Layla Stewart. A friend of hers was looking after the daughter and told police that Warren picked up the child with Melendez in the car. Melendez, according to that friend, was unresponsive and partially undressed at the time.
6 days later, on March 18th, Meshay and Layla were reported missing. March 21st of 2023, Kirkland would be named person of interest. He was arrested and questioned, but he refused to answer any questions about their disappearance. He denied knowing anything about what happened to them, despite him being the last person with them.
Fair enough. I'm trying not to get too involved in your other case, right? But like I said, I'm more interested in that little girl. Okay, that is, Meshay could be anywhere, right? But I mean, I'm sure you love that little girl like everybody else, right? I mean, that little girl got a lot of family, right?
Two of my own. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you, I'm really, when Meshay did, and Meshay gave her relevant card, I'm the one that got up in the morning to take Layla to school every morning.
And you're kind of soft-spoken. Do you mind if I pull up a chair? Please, man.
Do you think I'm here to judge you?
No.
Do you think I'm here because maybe God put me here?
You're here to do your job.
Yeah, and what do you think that job is?
To find them.
To find them, right? Do you think maybe I have found them?
No.
You don't know?
I hope not.
You hope not?
I hope not in the way you think. I hope not in the way that I think you're about to say.
What do you think I'm about to say? Kirkland.
Just tell me they're okay.
I can't tell you that.
That's all I need to hear. Just
what do you think? Where do you think they are?
I don't know.
Kirkland, I'm here to ask about what actually happened. And I wouldn't be here having this conversation with you if I didn't think that maybe you'd want to talk about it.
I didn't do it.
You didn't do anything?
No, sir.
So what did happen?
I don't know. I don't know where they are.
You don't know where they are?
I've been calling and calling.
I get it. Do you think that maybe that might be some denial?
No, sir.
Kirkland.
I've made my mistake before.
Okay, fair enough. I'm not here to about past
I
stuff.
don't run from it.
Then tell me about what happened to that baby.
I don't know.
You do know.
I don't.
Kirkland, I don't want to go down the road with all the stuff that I have on my phone. I want to hear it from the man. You're a man, right?
I am.
You're a man that maybe made a mistake, not a monster?
Not a monster. I made my mistakes in the past.
So tell me about the mistake that happened.
Also, while questioning Kirkland, they were already searching his house and his car. In his car, they found bullet casings, a gun, a purse, and clothing that belonged to Meshay and Layla. On March 22nd, 2023, at around 11 a.m., a man was walking his dog. As he was walking, he saw what he thought were two mannequins laying in an embankment. He called the police and quickly found out that they were bodies. Due to the distinctive birthmarks, police would quickly determine that these were the bodies of Meshay and Layla. Meshay had been once in the temple, while Layla was found twice in the head.
Deputies say they only searched the area after someone walking their dog saw something strange. Take a listen.
A person was out walking their dog and they thought that they had seen kind of down an embankment off of an area just a little bit from here, kind of what they thought was actually like mannequins. And their concern is that people would call in thinking that they may be bodies. So, a deputy went out and checked it and then realized that they were actually two people deceased.
Deputies made that discovery around 11 this morning. It was off of a single lane road that accesses a few private properties. Vancouver police say they believe the bodies are those of Melendez and Stewart because they match their general descriptions and unique identifying genetic marks.
On Wednesday morning, the Clark County Sheriff's Office got a call from someone who was walking on this rural road in Washougal. The caller described what they believed to be two life-sized mannequins down an embankment near a creek. But when deputies arrived on scene, they discovered two bodies. Investigators contacted Vancouver police, who determined this was likely Meshay Melendez and Layla Stewart.
This is probably our missing mother and daughter.
This is a heartbreaking update tonight. Both the police and the medical examiner confirmed gunshot wounds are the cause of death for both Meshay and her young daughter, Layla. The medical examiner's report says Meshay died from a single gunshot wound to the head. Her daughter from two gunshots, also to the head. Police say based on that information, they arrested Kirkland Warren for their murders. The pair was last seen with Warren on March 12th. Meshay and Layla's bodies were found in Washougal last week. Warren is due in court on the murder charges.
Remember how I said in the beginning this story was not only disturbing, but it was disgusting and sinister? To add insult to injury, Layla was also found partially clothed. They sent in DNA tests and it came back that Kirkland had Layla. That is honestly disgusting and sick. I'm pretty sure he killed her first and violated this little girl's body in front of her mom, made her mom watch, and then killed Meshay.
Kirkland Warren, the man charged with abducting and killing a Vancouver mother and daughter, went before a judge in Clark County to face a new allegation: rape of a child. Prosecutors later charged Warren, already in jail at the time, for a parole violation with 2 counts of first-degree murder. Warren pled not guilty on both counts. Then test results of forensic evidence processed by the Washington State Patrol Crime Lab came back this week, leading to the additional charge.
It's been mind-boggling to think what he did to this 7-year-old little girl.
The Clark County medical examiner determined that Meshay died from 1 gunshot wound and Layla died from 2. Lab results later determined that Warren had sexually assaulted Layla.
You're a child molester! You are a child molester!
This man deserves to rot in hell. Kirkland was charged with first-degree aggravated murder, second-degree murder, and first-degree child molestation. He would be sentenced to life in prison. Meshay and Layla's family would hold vigils for them. They had red and pink balloons in honor of their favorite colors. Family described Meshay as loving and outgoing, and Layla as a little girl who loved going on nature walks, singing, and dancing on TikTok with her mom. They said Layla could have literally grown up to become a model. That's just how beautiful she was. It is a shame domestic violence isn't taken seriously until it's too late. The system failed this woman. They kept letting this man out with just warnings, with just a slap on the wrist, despite him up her apartment, him scoring a 32 on the danger assessment scale, they kept letting him out. Despite him constantly violating the order of protections against him, they kept letting him out. Within like a 4-day period, they kept letting him out. He was released in Arkansas after admitting to killing a man because they felt he wasn't a danger. The system failed them. Another thing I do not understand is the fact that he kept calling Meshay while in jail, begging her to drop the charges. He blamed her for him being in there, only for him to get out, brutally murder and violate the little girl, only for him to end up right back in jail, this time for life. It doesn't make any sense. Domestic violence needs to be taken seriously. I do not understand why the courts and the system don't see domestic violence as anything serious. But all I want to say is rest in peace to Meshay and Layla.